Welcome back to the AFL Supercoach podcast from the Supercoach Hub. You're with me once again. My name's Nathan. We've got Joshy as well. We've got Verns, and surprisingly, once again, we do not have Pleb. But who would have thought of that? We all knew that he wasn't going to rock up today after he actually had a decent score on the weekend. And now we're going to get right into it. Joshy, how are you firstly, mate?
Yeah, not bad. Pretty sick at the moment, which is not ideal, but yeah, not too bad, and not streaming from a phone like Burns is tonight.
Yeah, well, even looking at Vern's, his eyes look a little less red than yours. I don't know what illicit substances
Oh,
you've been on, mate, but we do not endorse that around here. Vern's, Mr. Pixelation, how are you, buddy?
Yeah, I'm good. For all the viewers, my missus is starting work early tomorrow, so I got kicked out of the bedroom. So I'm on my phone today. So hope we can hear me.
Wonderful, mate. Wonderful. Now, I hope for your sake and for our sake and our credibility sake that you did a little bit better this week, mate. And we get right into it. Joshy, what did you score? How'd you rank? How'd you go?
about par.
Mhm.
Butters absolutely kissed me on the dick and saved me with a big captaincy score.
Oh,
Ended
yes.
up with 2022 and ranked 11,110 now. So still a little bit of climbing to go, but the gap at the moment is just so small.
Very nice, mate. Very nice. Ferns, how'd you go, mate?
Yeah,
Give
I
us
actually
all the
cracked the
details.
2K mark. Oh, look, I actually cracked 2K this week with 4 less players on field.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
We're on
put
the
together
improve.
2,037. Yeah. Gained 37K ranks, so that's pretty huge. I mean, I'm still at 58K, but getting there.
Very nice. Very nice, mate. I myself, I scored 2,077, so just a tick under 2.1K. And my rank is sitting at 12,713. So not too bad. Not too bad, but obviously not as good as some other people that are out there that are really absolutely flying. And we're just going to get straight into it tonight. We're not mucking around. Joshy, do you want to take us into the market summary, mate? The most top 5 traded in players and top 5 traded out players, mate. Go for it.
Yeah, well, thanks to Verns last week with the tip, we can actually do this. But the first player is Massimo, most traded in player, which is kind of expected.
Mm-hmm.
13.1% teams have traded him in, 22,000 teams overall. I completely agree with the pick. Coming off a 122 and an 87, it's like his break evens, I think, minus 80 something. I think he's a must have, especially with how many defender rookies are just falling as every single game goes down. Like we've lost Caulfield, McDonald, Reid, Gibcus. So I'm all for the pick. What about you, Scoobs?
I went early on Massimo and we spoke prior to the game. I think it was just hashing out the feelings towards the trade. And I think I made peace with the fact that I'm not expecting 122 each week. I said to you, mate, I'd be happy with, 70, 75 at best. He put out an 87. I was over the moon with that. So absolutely. I think he is an absolute must. I know for those that play a little bit more conservatively, then you really need to pick him this week, I think. Ferns, what's your thoughts on Massimo, mate?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think he is a must-have just because we have such poor rookie stocks in the defense line. So, I mean, if you're not going to him, who do you really have back there? And he's just a great on-field cover. So, yeah, definitely get on him.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Joshy, who's the next one?
Second most traded in player, 16,003 teams. There's a defender from North Melbourne, Toby Pink. I do like the pick, but given my trades at the moment, I just can't fit him in. I think I'm going to wait another week until I get Caulfield out if another option comes up. But yeah, 13.1% of teams are getting in. 9.4% of teams are getting in Toby Pink after a couple of good scores, a relatively low break even in the minus 30s. It seems to be the only defender rookie on the market at the moment. So I'm all for the pick if you need a defender rookie. What about you?
No, I'm not going there, and that's purely just because of setup. I mean, this week I'll be looping Zach Williams and Blake Howes via Caulfield, and
Yeah.
I think you can do that for maybe the next 3 coming weeks, which is quite handy. I mean, I've got 4 premiums: Massimo, Williams, Howes, and obviously Caulfield, who has now a bung shoulder. So, I mean, I wouldn't begrudge anyone from getting Pink, but for me personally, it's a no. Ferns, what are your thoughts on Toby Pink, mate? Yeah, good, Ferns. Good chat, mate. Wonderful.
Sorry, I did lose connection there. I'm so sorry. I'm guessing you asked about Pink. No, I think
Yes.
Joshy mentioned it. Just there's nothing else on the market. So if you're in search for a defender rookie, you just sort of got to go there. Yeah, that simple.
Wonderful, mate. Wonderful. Joshy, who's our next one? Number 3?
Yeah. Number 3 is another North boy, someone that you actually told me about initially, Scoobs.
Yes,
When
yes,
I
I
heard
did.
that he is coming off a 93% CBA game, I was like, oh my God, I need to get this guy on my team. 312k minus 47 break even and 12,331 teams of trade in Tom Powell. I'm all for it. The role looks amazing. There was no North midfielders missing from that team besides Phillips, who's been in the VFL for the last couple of weeks. So I'm all for that pick. 93% CBAs, as we've been saying, but not even just that number. I think the more significant thing is he was the most used mid out of any North player, even the ruckman in Jerry, which is really unseen.
Completely agree, mate. I honestly thought it was an error when I saw 93%. I thought there's no way that could be possible, and then did a little bit more digging, and clearly I was wrong. So I am hugely interested in the powertrain, and at that price, if he just literally goes 90s, he's going to max out at around 470k, which is nice. And we know that he can go big as well. Like, he's not just one of those midfielders that plays pure mid, and that's it. That's all his ability. But he plays that pure midfield role, and he can kick snags, and we absolutely love snags for Supercoach scores. Ferns, with your dodgy pixelated internet, mate, what's your thoughts on Tommy Powell?
Yeah, I think as you said, it's like if he goes 90 plus, he's going to make us great money and be a good on-field option. If he goes 95 plus and 490, he may just be a keeper. So you could keep an absolute steal of a price. So why wouldn't you jump on it?
That's wonderful, mate. And for all our listeners on the audio, we apologise for that, but Verns is going to try and fix his internet as soon as possible because he's starting to sound like C3PO if you get the reference there. Joshy, who's our next one?
The next one's a player that I just wish I had because he's tearing it apart. Caleb Sarong. Goodbye. And I think that's another reason why I probably should have started him. But yeah, 10,856 teams have traded in Sarong. So that's 6.4% of the competition. He's now in 20% of teams overall. Absolutely flying at the moment. You know, he started with that massive score in round 1, went even big again against North Melbourne. I think his draw gets a little bit harder. So I wouldn't be doing everything you can to bring him in because, you know, those points are already gone. You're more picking him for what he's projecting for the rest of the season now. But I cannot fault anyone that's getting him in unless they're completely tearing their team apart. What about yourself, Scoops?
I completely agree, mate. He's got a break even of 41, and I don't know, unless he falls over and breaks his leg, he's probably going to be on that early in the second quarter, honestly. I wish I did start him. I needed to free up cash, and that's why I don't have Sarong. But looking at it, he's got Adelaide next, and I know obviously he wasn't, so to speak, a premium or an uber premium for very long, but he's played Adelaide 4 times for a high score of 100, and he's played Carlton, who he plays in round 4, 6 times for a high score of 90. Now, I would be absolutely shocked if in the next 2 weeks, Caleb Sarong only gets 190 points. If if you're sidewaysing a premium to him and that's all he pumps out, then in my opinion, that's a trade wasted. So I think you've got to look at it. He's never been this good, so to speak, before. And I think you don't look too much into those numbers. But as you said, mate, if you're ruining your team for that, then I don't think it's a good play. We've just lost Verns, but we're going to continue on as always because around here we aren't quitters. We're absolute troopers. Joshy, who's our next player?
Yeah, so the fifth and final trade-in that we're going to cover is Nasai Wanganeen-Malira. 5.9% of teams have got him in, so that's a total of 10,035 teams, bringing his overall ownership up to 13.3%. This is one that I am a bit skeptical on. I know he's been scoring really well. He's coming off a 120, but there is just so many defenders that I think can be top 8 to 12 defenders, and I think at that price, 475k, that's not a stepping stone price at all. So if you're picking Nasai Wanganeen-Malira, you have to be certain that or not certain, but pretty confident that he's going to be a keeper and a top 8 to 12 defender. I'm not so convinced he can be that. I might be wrong. A beautiful kick, really exciting to watch. Going to be a gun for a very long time. He's still very young, but I'm not too big on this one.
See, I don't know. Like, unless it's just because I'm still having nightmares of how he tore literally the worst team in the AFL up in his last game. I wouldn't begrudge anyone for going there because honestly, he's got a break even of 48. We know that he can go large, and he's going to be around that 530, 540k in no time. I think if you're going to pick Wanganeen-Malira, I think you've got to accept that there's going to be some 80s in there. But as you said, mate, like you've got to be fairly sure that if you don't think he's even going to be, say, top 6 or top 8, that you are 100% certain that he's going to be top 8 to, say, 12. And then if you've got trades left over in the back end of the year or on a buy, you flip him. Simple as that. Because I don't think he's going to get to the heights of, 600k, 620k. So he's not exactly a stepping stone, and it's not as if he's cheap either. But if you think he's just going to run that back line now while Sinclair's in the midfield, then back yourself in and absolutely go for it. Verns with the brand new internet, no pixelation. What do you think on Wanganeen-Malira, mate?
Yeah, no, I'm really for him as a pick. I think what I love about it is they just have that insane Marvel run at the end of the year. So, look, you could probably pick him up later, but I think there's a chance that this is probably the cheapest we're going to get him at. Even if he's only a 100 to 105 average until he hits that Marvel run and then he finishes the year, 110, it's still going to be a really good pick for his price. And some of us who have Hayden Young and they can't afford to go up, I think he's the next best guy down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yep. True.
Yep, wonderful. Joshy, who is the 5th most traded out player?
Well, the 5th most traded out player at the moment is an obvious one, Zach Reid. A lot of people held him after the first week. 6,312 teams have traded him out. But that still leaves 61,600 teams with him. I think he's could be a hold now. He's only listed 4 more weeks with injury. As we were saying before, Pink's the only player left that really is on the market at the moment. We could get Tom Brown within the next week or so. Carl Warner may be coming back from concussion. He had a very good 63 from that 35% game time, whatever it was. So I think you can probably hold Reid unless you've got still Gibcus, Caulfield, Reid, and you've got already someone missing, having a donut on your field. I think that's when you need to get one of them out, but only 4 weeks away. So I don't know about you, but I think you can probably hold Reid still.
I don't know. I think this is really team dependent, and I think you and also Verns would agree on it that if you have Caulfield and Reid and Gibcus still, for some reason, you were just playing Caulfield on field and you got stung and he's obviously got a 3 on your field and you've got all those 3. I'd probably be doing a little bit of research into who plays the latest, so to speak. And then if you've got, I mean, really, realistically, you want to have one warm body on the bench at worst case. If you've got two cold ones and you've got players that are injured and you've got, whether that's a combination of Caulfield, Gibkiss, Reid, Caulfield, whatever it is, I think you've got to move that on ASAP. Like me, for now, I'm keeping Caulfield because he's basically dead. Can loop. It's worked out really well, so I'm a little bit fortunate there for the next coming weeks. But, I mean, it was touted as hamstring awareness. Like, you're an Essendon man. You know how injury prone this bloke is.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he could be 1 week away from coming back and literally rock up to training, get out of the car, and then twang, out for 12.
Definitely,
like, it's just, yeah, it's hard. Like, I'd want some security with one warm body on the bench. Like, I don't mind holding him if he's just the one cold body. Burns, what's your thoughts, mate? Burns, you there, mate? You're staring off into the distance. Nah, we'll just keep rolling forward how we always do. Really good. We've lost him. Joshy, who is the 4th most traded out player?
Well, I think the other
I think
important thing about getting him out of your side is that when he's coming back, it's probably going to be in the middle of our upgrades. Is it cooking it?
What the fuck is going on?
Burns, I'm going to say this in the nicest possible way, mate. Fix whatever you're doing right now, okay? And we'll talk to you in 2 minutes. Right. Joshy, who is the number 4?
Number 4 is someone that I'm actually looking at trading out as well. I'm not sure if I do it this week or the next, but Alex Sexton, 7,699 teams have got rid of Alex Sexton, which is 4.5% of the comp in total. Still in 58.5% of teams, so it's still in a shitload of teams. But I don't know about you, but I kind of want to move him on. You know, he finished the game last week up forward, hasn't been scoring the best, and it kind of opens up avenues to get the Carrolls and the Dempseys and the Matters in, who look a little bit better at the moment. What's your thoughts?
I'm currently trading Sexton out.
Yeah.
I mean, you raised a really good point. I was torn on Lazaro or Sexton out. At least Lazaro's playing this week. He's got a chance. Like, he's guaranteed to make money, if anything. He's also a slim chance of resetting that break even, whereas Sexton doesn't play, so that's not a possibility. And you got moved forward after the subbing. Like, that's just half forward graveyard. Like, we want this bloke down the back line. Literally just mark, kick, mark. That's all we want him doing. So I know people say you can wait till post round 6 and then he gets a DPP, but yeah, that's not for me. I have no issue trading Sexton out. Now, Verns, you're back from the dead, mate. Returned from the shadow realm. Alex Sexton, any issues trading him?
Oh my god.
That's it. Nah, we're done.
Yeah,
We're done with Verns.
Maybe I am. Am I working at all? Oh god.
No.
I'm sorry. Sorry, fellas.
Restart your modem. Sort it out. All right. That is just really annoying. We're so sorry for everyone on the audio. Everyone in the live chat, please don't hesitate to say what you really think about Verns. We love him. We hate his internet. It's absolutely shocking. Joshy, who's the number 3?
I think we'll cover off the 3rd and 2nd most together, just because it's, like Reid, obvious. Gibkiss and Caulfield are the 3rd and 2nd most traded out players. Well, I'll say with Caulfield, just really unfortunate. You know, like, this is a guy who is coming off a ACL when at his time at St Kilda, really struggling to get on the park at Saints. Finally comes to a new team, a team they barracked for as a kid, new opportunities, and dislocates his shoulder, needs surgery, and out for 3 months. So unfortunate for him, but just with Zach Reid and what we were saying before, Gibkiss, Caulfield, we can completely understand why they're the 2nd and 3rd most traded out players.
Yep. I literally have nothing to add to that, mate. I'm keeping Caulfield. As I said, the loops work in my favour. For someone else, it might not. So, I mean, trade away. Like, he's genuinely dead. Like, he's out for 3 months. Like, the bloke is absolutely shiitake'd. Like, he's not coming back from that. I highly doubt we'll see him, you know, if the Dogs make finals I really highly doubt we'll see him again this year. Number one most traded out player. Who is it, mate?
I think it's a player that we can both agree on.
Is it a certain someone that when it starts to get hot in the kitchen, they have no idea what to do and literally just shit themselves?
Absolutely, it is. It's Hayden Young, man by himself. I think we used all the expletives we could last week on James Harms. We've hit our quota
Yes.
already, but if we had any left, we'd probably be directing it right at this guy. 25,934 teams have traded him, so that's 15.3% of the comp. He's still in 23% of teams, but I'm telling you now, that's just going to keep dropping and dropping and dropping. I cannot see a possible reason why you'd keep him. Like, I think you got to cash him out now while he's still his starting price with a break even of 165 and averaging 66. I think he's just an absolute must trade out. I think he's the priority to get out this round. If you don't have Massimo, I think straight down to Massimo, use the cash elsewhere is a really good play. Other than that, try get him up to something good, or as Verns and you were saying before, maybe Wanganeen Malira is the guy for Young. I'm not so convinced, but yeah, what's your thoughts?
I don't know. It just seems like he's a bloke that can't handle it. Like he's got the
Yeah.
role, but with the role comes pressure, and which has led to literally indecisiveness and the ability to just fold. Like literally a pack
Yeah.
of cards. Like he's Clang essential. He has the most
Oh,
clangers
the clangers.
and the most turnovers out of any player in the AFL thus far in the season. And that is just like he's negative 25 points. Shout out to Jaden Popowski, who does literally God's work on statistics for Supercoach. He put up a graphic that said Hayden Young, I think off the top of my head, is negative 25 points for Supercoach points. And that is just an absolute killer. So, like, Young was gone as soon as lockout lifted. Absolutely gone. I think at that price, though, you want to be getting another premium in. If that's Nazaya Wanganeen Malira in your eyes, then obviously reference what we said before. But me personally, I'm going up to his teammate in Luke Ryan because his game is built for Supercoach. Like there is, if you follow me on Twitter, I did a little write up. Tom Stewart versus Luke Ryan, and I looked at Tom Stewart's game and thought it was absolutely flawless. It was fantastic. I had no idea how he only scored 134. I looked at Luke Ryan's game, had a little look at it. It was a good game. It wasn't amazing. Scored 7 less than Tom Stewart. If that doesn't tell you that this bloke's game and the way that they're playing is literally how you're going to score points and easy points in Supercoach, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Going to move on to some questions now because we've been going for a little bit, and we love everyone that comes in here and just has a chat, whether it's, banter about Verns' Kilmore internet and it's like the Stone Age. We absolutely love that. Genuine questions. We appreciate everyone here that's in the live stream and obviously listening on the audio maybe a little bit later on. Thomas Jack, lovely to see you here, mate. My trades this week look like Young and Newcomb to Sheasel and Crouch. Is it worth boosting Papau? Only way would be through Bonner.
I think it is.
Depending on your risk profile, and again, referencing my good friend Chizo from Dr. Supercoach, shout out to those boys because they're fantastic. Risk profile is something that you really, really need to look at in your team. For someone like me, I would 100% do that. 100% do that. But again, I'm not you, mate, and you're probably ranked higher than me, so you do whatever you feel is right. Joshy, final thoughts on this? Yay or nay for the boost?
If it's getting into power, I think definitely like that minus 47 break even. I think he's going to make enough money to repay that trade. And even he's a potential keeper with the real lack of options besides Jackson, Flanders, and Heaney.
Yep, agreed, mate. Agreed. Global, great to see you here, mate. You're always here. Thank you so much again. Windhager is a decent shout out with Crouch injured for 4+ weeks. Absolutely, he is. And he looked amazing against the Pies. But then again, you've got to weigh up, do you actually think Collingwood is a decent side? We know that they leak points. And Windhager He's priced at 323k. Very unique DPP, midfielder and defender. And his break even is 15. I'd just swing some DPP and get Tommy Powell, mate, for literally the same price, but you're guaranteed to make more cash. What's your thoughts, Joshy?
Yeah, well, I think Mitch Cleary actually reported it's 6 to 8 weeks, which is more than enough time for Windhager to start getting some decent points and making some nice cash. But I think you're right. I think if it's one of Powell or Windhager, you go on Powell. I think I saw some guys on Twitter saying today that they've got both. I think, as you're saying with risk profile before, that may be a bit too risky, but if it pays off, I tell you what, that's going to really do wonders for your scoring, for your overall, and just money making in general.
Yep, wonderful, mate. Completely agree with that. Next question, we have Tony J. Grundy out, Jackson to R2 and Powell in. Simpson, Freo not playing. To McKercher and 406k in the bank for future upgrades. Yes or no? Rank 4,696. Good to see you here, Tones. We absolutely love you, mate. Honestly, in your position, purely based on your rank, I would 100% do that. 100% do that, because that is a play that can project you from 4.7k thereabouts to literally top 1k in one round. That's the type of risk that I was speaking about, and your risk profile that I would 100% do. Absolutely. But then again, you're ranked a lot higher than me, mate, so you might be adverse to that suggestion. Joshy, your thoughts, mate?
Yeah, well, I was saying Massimo was a must-have before. I think McKercher is the absolute non-negotiable must-have out of any player in the competition.
Yep.
You absolutely need him. 406k in the bank is nice. I'm not overly big on the Grundy out if you have other issues like myself, but with Jackson up forward, I think that opens up a lot more options than someone like me who doesn't have him, because it's either Teixeira or trying to find the cash for English. But yeah, overall, pretty good trades. Powell, as I was saying before, I think is someone you really need to get in, and yeah, all for it.
Wonderful, mate. Wonderful. Jake Charman, he's thinking the same as Thomas Jack. He's thinking the same for Powell for Bonner, adding on to Thomas Jack. Is there any risk of Powell getting moved out of that role? Honestly, when I looked at those CBAs, as I said before, I thought there was a glitch in the website. Could not believe that it was 93%. Honestly, couldn't. I highly doubt it. Joshy, you referenced Phillips before, mate, but if Phillips was going to be in that midfield, would he not have played when Simpkin was out?
Oh, he would have absolutely. Yeah. I was only referencing him just as like any potential North mid that could come in. He's like the only one left. Like he had 93% CBAs with a full strength North Melbourne side in the midfield.
Yep. I think that's case closed there, mate. Thomas Jack, Powell talk makes me think I should skip Crouch and move a DPP and get him in and not waste a boost. Well, mate, that would depend on who you're trading out, so to speak. Like I'm huge on Crouch. And this is very rare for me. I've never had a bad experience with Matty Crouch. The only times I've owned him, he's popped off, and the times where I haven't owned him, he's just been dropped. But he looks really good this year. Really good. I mean, send us a DM on Twitter, mate. Send us your team. Send it to either Joshy, you can see his handle right there, or you can just literally look me up, Scobie_Supercoach Hub. Send us your team, what's in the bank, and we'll sort it out for you, mate, because we really need some context to this one. So we're going to pass on that at the moment. Global, Butters or Sarong? Well, I own Butters, so I'm just going to say Butters for the moment. Joshy, what are you thinking, mate?
Butters, I owe him a favour after that beautiful captaincy score.
Yep, wonderful. Thomas Jack would rather pay 50 to 75k more for Nazaya Wanganeen Malira with a bit more info on his top 8 potential. This is a fantastic comment. Absolutely fantastic. I wanted to highlight this because it's not a question. Obviously, as we know, it's a comment, and it's a very smart one. There is nothing wrong with waiting and seeing the data and assessing what's out there and then paying a little bit over. I mean, who cares if, one of your mates in your league's literally got the same player for 50K cheaper and you end up with the same player? It does not matter. It does not matter. Like, worst comes to worst, they get him in early. He absolutely shits the bed. You win. There's nothing wrong with waiting for data. Absolutely nothing wrong. Josh Grieve, First National Rainer. Thoughts on the Yo pick versus Nazaya Wanganeen-Malira, or would you even consider Bramble from the Dogs? Seems solid. Not going anywhere near Bramble, mate. Sorry. Purely, there's two reasons. Did a cash projection on him on Twitter, and it doesn't look that nice. Check it out. Just go to my feed. And also, number two, his coach is an absolute peanut, and I have no idea how he's an accredited AFL coach. But thoughts on the Yo pick versus Wanganeen-Malira? I'd just go Wanganeen-Malira because I have no doubt that Yo is going to break down at some point in time. Joshy, your thoughts, mate?
Yeah, I agree. We've seen that many injuries this year already. Even Fife, I know he's not injured, but got managed on the weekend. I think that's something that the Eagles could possibly do throughout games or before games with Yo. But yeah, I completely agree with everything you said there.
Wonderful. And this one's for you, mate. As a Dons man, Josh, give us your thoughts on Setters.
Yeah, well, I wish he did this last year when a lot of us got him in after his round one score, and then he wasn't too bad, but ended up getting injured and was only dropping about 80s. But 475K, so I think he's averaging ridiculous numbers. Off the top of my head, it's top 8 numbers at the moment in the midfield, but I think he's got a bit of knee soreness at the moment. And although Essendon expect him to play, he's still on the injury list with Test next to his name, which, I mean, when you're paying 475K for a mid with guys like Jack Steele a bit more, Crouch a bit more, I think you can't go there. Just personally, I wouldn't.
Wonderful, mate. You know more about that man than I do. We've got Global once again. The question for myself is whether to get Power for cash gen and potential keeper or get Butters in. No words necessary. It's literally Butters. You don't muck around with someone that is a potential keeper for cash gen, or you literally get a premium who, well, he literally went 175 on the weekend. I'd every single day of the week get the premium. Joshy, your thoughts, mate?
Yeah, completely agree. I'm getting Power when Butters is a god.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely agree,
Yeah.
mate. The Surf 420, so good to see you here, mate. We absolutely love your support. Not a question, just a comment. Please get Verns out of his sub-Kilmore level internet plan. Look, we're trying. The more people that join the Discord, jump in there, converse with each other, the more everyone gets paid, and therefore we can all chip in together, unify our finances, and then maybe we might be able to get Verns on for a little bit longer. Next one, the Sir. This is wonderful, mate. Is Carroll a must-have and worth a trade-in for Berry, Sexton, Clark, or Windsor? I'm going to say not a must-have, but the closest thing to it, and absolutely worth a trade-in for literally all of those players right there. Joshy, your thoughts, mate?
Yeah, completely agree. Again, it's team dependent. In terms of the rookies that I don't have, he's probably the must-have one for me. But yeah, I'd trade all of those players to him. Maybe keep Windsor, but again, like a 40 on the weekend wasn't that impressive.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful, mate. Wonderful. Gonna move on now. Trade plans. You can kickstart us off, mate. What are you thinking for this week's trade plans? First up, are you boosting?
I am boosting. I didn't really
Wonderful.
want to boost until the buys, but with 5, I'll still have 4 left. I'm unlike a lot of other teams who only traded once in round one. After round one, I think a lot of people are down 6 trades already, which again isn't their fault. There's been a lot of injuries. There's been a lot of underperformers, but at the moment, Young can fuck off. He's gone straight away. Gone. Try and get him up. It's either Luke Ryan or Tom Stewart. At the moment, I'm going Tom Stewart. And then I'm also going to be trading Sexton over Lazaro, which sounds a bit weird, but I'd rather keep Lazaro for one more price rise, even if he's sub. And then I'm going to trade him off to Darcy next week anyway. So Young, Young, Sexton, and then finally Zach Fisher to Tom Powell, Tom Stewart, and at the moment Jack Carroll, but Ollie Dempsey is right up there for me.
Wonderful, mate. Wonderful. I'm doing something very, very similar. Last week, I was hugely against trading out Zach Fisher because he had the role and he just needed to see it again. I was hoping that he'd absolutely pop off and reset that break even. But unfortunately, he did bounce back with a ton. It was a low ton, 101 on the nose. But this week, currently, if I go ahead with it, I will be boosting. No matter what I do, whether I'm dead, alive, or incarcerated, Hayden Young will be leaving my team. It's definitely Hayden Young, Sexton, and at this stage, Fisher out for Luke Ryan, Carroll, and Tommy Powell. The reasoning behind Fisher out is because there is someone that's literally in his team that is playing a fantastic role, and even if he steps foot on the field, is going to make more. And there's a slim possibility he could be top 6. I think it's more realistically that he could be top 8. If he keeps kicking sausage rolls, though, he could easily burst his way into that top 6 contention and chat for forwards, which is wonderful. And I think if he's getting 93% CBAs, he's going to get DPP as well. I mean, that's just an added bonus. But at this stage, it is Young, Sexton, and Fisher out for Luke Ryan, Carroll, and Powell. But Ryan could easily be Stewart. Carroll could easily be Dempsey or Manor or anyone, literally. But Tom Powell is an absolute lock to stay in. And I don't think there's anything more to say regarding trades. So we'll keep going back to the questions. We got Jakey Charman. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I feel my backline is stitched at the moment with 2 to 3 premiums being Short and Young. Do I spread trading them out over 1 to 3 weeks? In this instance, I would highly suggest so if you don't own Carroll, Dempsey, etc. If you own them, then I just do it all in one go. Like, I think you've got to get to Sheasel. And then that second option, entirely up to you, mate. Entirely up to you. What's your thoughts, Joshy? Does he need to get them out all in 1 week, or are we spreading the trades out?
I think he does need to get them both out this week.
Yeah,
just
right.
Purely because Short's already lost 14k. His break even is 152. So that could be another 30, 40k this week that he's going to lose. And I think that gets him to the point where he's low 500s, possibly sub 500. And then Young, we were speaking about before, I think it's something like 160 break even. So I think you kind of want to be getting these guys out before they both go sub 100 so that you can actually get them to some decent players.
I mean,
yeah,
I don't think there's any wrong way to go about it. Like, prioritize rookies, but you also want points on field. So, like, if you've got, as I said, if you've got a Carroll or a Dempsey, I mean, there's a world where if DPP works, you could literally just go Short and Young to rookies, pray for the week, and then just do literally a triple upgrade next week. Jack, I'm just going to say yes straight away. That is the most sensible trade-in option I've seen in a long time. It's just a yes.
Yeah, that's absolutely perfect. All for it.
Wonderful. Jack, that's a lock. Lock it in, mate. Global, how do we prioritize getting in must-have rookies? Massimo and McKercher, missed mid-prices, Powell, and Uber Primos, Butters. For me personally, it would be McKercher, Massimo, Butters, then Powell. That's just my opinion. I think you need the rookies, and then you need the Uber premiums that you know are going to be there come the season end. Like, there's no guarantee that Tommy Powell is even a top 6 forward. Like, we're hoping that he is. We're hoping that he also may potentially be a top 8 forward at worst. But I think you definitely need Massimo, McKercher, and any premium for that sake. It doesn't have to be Butters. Joshy, your thoughts, mate?
Always prioritize rookies, especially at this point of the season. This is what a lot of people call the most important round of trading for Supercoach. Whether it's correctional trades for rookies, getting in the primos you missed, it's super important. Um, and so I think cash is the most important part about this game if you want to get full primo as quickly as possible. So definitely Mass and McKershaw. If you don't have those guys, we'll say them before, they are the non-negotiables.
Mhm.
Absolutely need to get them in. And then when it comes to the primos and mid prices, if it's a straight swap of like a Dawson to Butters, I'm against it. I think give Dawson some time. There could be a patch where Dawson's out averaging Butters by 20 points. Like it's premiums. But if it's not, get Butters in. And at the same time, I'd even be prioritizing something like Power because that minus 47 break even, he's going to make a lot of cash as well.
Mhm.
And then he just has that nice little bonus that he could be a keeper, could maybe not, but I think worst case scenario, he'll make money for us.
Wonderful, mate. Jay, great to see you here, mate. It's a shame you go for Chelsea and Essendon. Windsor has been quite poor. Do we keep him? I mean, I wouldn't be adverse to trading him out. That 40 is going to be in that price cycle for a while now. So, yeah, it's entirely up to you, mate. But I mean, there's no reason why you would keep him, so to speak. Joshy, your thoughts, mate?
Very team dependent. It depends on what rookies you have. I think in the case of, let's say, I think you'd be keeping him over Lazaro, Sexton, and Tom Berry. But
Mhm.
if you've got all those guys out already, and you need a quick cash grab of a Windsor down to a, let's say, Manor or Carroll, then absolutely go for it.
Wonderful. Blues fan, thinking of Grundy to Jerry. Can't find a way where I can get Grundy to a decent ruck at his bye while getting the likes of Green next week. I know Grundy goes well against West Coast, but thinking long-term thoughts, I wouldn't be going to Cherry. I don't. The way I see it, Grundy has more chance of becoming back to where he was and an uber premium ruckman than Cherry has. I think you'd just be trading Cherry in and then trading him out again. So it's a waste of two trades for me. Joshy, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think you definitely have to keep Grundy unless it's Jackson to the Rocks or down up to English. He's got a very good record against Nank, and that's his next opponent at the G, which I think kind of suits Grundy's game style. Sorry, he played a lot of footy there at Collingwood and a little bit at Melbourne, and then he's got West Coast, and we've seen the numbers that Rucks are putting up against West Coast ruckman at the moment. So I think I know the break even 112 doesn't look good, but I think you just got to ride out this week against Nank and then really hope for a 150 plus against West Coast, which is completely in his range of scoring.
Absolutely, it is. I know earlier we referenced Jaden Popowski's graphic. Check him out on Twitter because that man knows statistics. He's incredible with it. Brodie Grundy was very closely behind Hayden Young in the most Supercoach points lost from clangers. So I assume that that's including free kicks against. So that's unfortunate. Joshua Zilovec, Bonner or Billings out to get power. It's Bonner. Joshy.
Yeah, Bonner every day of the week.
Mariam Abbas, thoughts on Lions? I wouldn't go there now, but he's absolutely going to put up a good score against the Pies. They're literally cactus at the moment, mate. Yeah, I wouldn't go there, but wouldn't be surprised when he punches out 100. Joshy, your thoughts?
I won't be bringing him in, but if you have him, keep him. We're going to see the Lions team before any team this round, so we'll see if he's sub. Obviously, they play a Thursday night, but I
Yeah.
wouldn't be getting him in.
Perfect, mate. Blake McMeekin. Sorry about that. Blakey, thank you so much for joining us, mate. Trades this week, Young, Martin and Fisher traded to Power, Dempsey / Carroll and Ryan / Stewart. Leaves 330k to 350k. Can't decide on which primo and rookie. Yeah, I'm very similar to this. I mean, the base of the trades is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And you could literally flip a coin on Dempsey and Carroll or Ryan and Stewart. That's literally what I'm weighing up right now. Joshy, your thoughts, mate?
Yeah, well, those three trade-in options, Power, Dempsey / Carol Ryan, Stewart, that is exactly what I'm looking at. I know Blake here says can't decide on which premium rookie, and honestly, at the moment, I'm the same. Although I think I am edging Stewart and Carroll over the other two. But yeah, absolutely agree. If the trade-ins, 330 to 350k is going to open up a lot of opportunities in the upcoming rounds, and I think that's good trading.
Wonderful. Friendly Greedo. Now, this bloke is an absolute superstar. I have a lot of time and love for this individual. Absolute legend. Haven't got Butters or Sarong and feeling a little FOMO. Is that nonsense this early? Straighten me out, fellas. I think no, because it's real and you're allowed to feel like that. But you've got to back in the premiums. Like, why did you pick player A, B, and C over Butters and Sarong? Like, there was good reasons for that, mate. And you justified that in the preseason. So I just try and go back to why you picked those certain players. Joshy, your thoughts on this one, mate?
I couldn't agree more with you. Obviously, it sucks. Like, I don't have Sarong, I don't have Took, I don't have Green. The last two, I'm so bloody glad it's their bye this week because I can actually have a bit of stress relief.
Yes,
But
absolutely.
yeah, I just think there's no point sidewaysing premiums. But if they do have the option to get Young up to one of those two guys, I would absolutely go for it.
Wonderful, mate. We have got some interesting comments
Yeah, I've
in
seen some
this
of them
chat.
and had a chuckle.
Some referencing Verns, and we love Verns as always. We just hate his internet.
Oh God.
Thoughts on what to do with Ollie Wines? Would you trade him down to Powell and get some flexibility between the mid and forward? Well, Powell's not DPP, mate, so he will eventually, you'd think, but he doesn't have it currently. And honestly, I mean, Wines wasn't that bad, but it just seems as if Hinkley's teasing all the Wines owners with this pure midfield role. Horne-Francis was out last week. He's going to be out this week again. He's been ruled out with a hammy issue. But I think you just part ways with Wines. If Wines is your only issue in your team, then absolutely 100% pull the trigger for that. Joshy, your thoughts, mate?
Yeah, I completely agree. The fact that he only had 64% of CBAs on the weekend without Horne-Francis in the team is a worry, I think. I know he looks fit in terms of muscly and lean, but he looks so slow on the field, like really, really slow. I think Hinkley's going to prefer going with Butters, Rosie, and really stick with Drew because he was unbelievable on the weekend. He was a really good third string to Buzz and Rosie. And yeah, I think with Crouch and Steele so close to that price tag, you can get him out or go down.
Wonderful, mate. The Surf 420, to follow up on Carroll, would you do one of those trades even if it meant using a boost? Doing Young to Nazai, Wanganeen, Malira, and Reid to Pink at the moment. I'd want to know the teams before saying yes to that, mate. I'd want it, like, if for some reason Carroll has a chance of being sub or his midfield minutes aren't as assured as what they have been in the past, then I probably wouldn't. Is there any DPP you can work to get Reid to Carroll? That'd be my suggestion. But you want to wait and see the teams, mate. Honestly, if he's named on field in the centre, then I'd probably use it. Joshy, your thoughts?
I completely agree. Very team dependent. I think the Sarah's in a good spot getting Young and Reid out. They're definitely guys that you need to get out, but just wait for the teams. If Carroll's in, then I think he's possibly a really good option.
Wonderful. Our second last question for the night. We won't be doing any more. Thank you so much for everyone coming through. I've lost the question. I do apologise. I've got no idea where it is. God. Here it is. The Sir again. Berry Sexton Clark to Carroll or Grundy to Jackson if you were to use a boost. No, I'd keep Grundy. Like, just ditch one of the rookies to Carroll. Joshy, your thoughts, mate?
Yeah, completely agree.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now we're going to go into VC and C options, and we're going to have one last little question for the end. Thank you so much for everyone that's joined us tonight. Make sure to join the Discord. Honestly, get in there. There's a lot of opinions going on. Follow it. Follow us and obviously the Supercoach Hub on X. There's always content going out. Like, you will never, ever be bored. Joshy, I'm going to you straight away, mate. Who's your VC and C options this week?
Well, I've captained Butters 2 weeks in a row now for 117 and that big 175. Absolutely saved my round. I think I'm going to chuck the VC on him. Back at home against the D's. I know the D's aren't going too bad at the moment, but last season he scored 184 against Melbourne at Adelaide Oval, which is absolutely out of this world. So happy to slap the VC on Butters, especially
Very
when you get
nice.
to the especially when you get to the captaincy option, which is just an absolute given this week. Bontempelli against the Eagles.
Mate, my captaincy option is exactly the same, but I mean, if Collingwood are going to turn it around, which I hope they do, which they probably won't. I mean, I would be very shocked if we go up there Thursday evening and beat Brisbane at literally the one place that they don't lose at. I'm going Dakes again. Got to back him in. He was absolutely pox last week. But, I mean, it's a VC. It's a VC. I think majority of the competition will either be on Dakes or Butters or, a sarong, so to speak. But the C is a given, and that's just going to be on Bont. And honestly, if you have English, it's a decent shout as well. But for me, it's going to be Daicos into Bontempelli. Ideally, it's just going to be Dakes into Livingston. But we'll see how he goes. What is the line for your VC to get for you, mate?
Oh, it changes every year, every week.
Considering you can go Bont against
well,
West
that's the
Coast
thing.
at home.
That's the thing. It's usually 120, 130, but Bont honestly, I think I'd need a 150 from Butters to not take it.
That's huge.
Bont against the Eagles, I know there's still that injury risk, obviously, but he could have 40 and kick 3. It's ridiculous.
Big possibility. Big possibility. That's wonderful. Thank you so much to everyone that has joined tonight on the live stream and is listening later on the audio. We have our one last question, and this is an absolute banger. This is from Juicy Gerbil. Would you rather have Kelly Underwood's voice or Tom Brown's face for the rest of your life? Josh, you can answer this one first, mate.
I think I might just check out now and leave the pod because I don't want any of those things for the rest of my life. But considering every time I turn on the TV and hear Kelly Underwood's voice during commentary and turn the volume off, I don't want to be ignored for the rest of my life. So I hate it, but I'm going to have to take Tom Brown's face.
Mate, and I just want to preface this by saying we have nothing against female commentators. There's nothing against gender here. It's just the plain fact that she gets so many calls wrong. The orange team, the brown and yellow team. Okay, we get it. Like, clearly haven't done your research. It's shocking. But
see the one on the weekend?
Oh, yeah. No, shocking. Just a very bad commentator. So I'm going to have to go Tommy Brown's face for the rest of your life. And that is enough to leave us where we are. And we're about to hop off. Thank you so much for everyone that's joined us tonight. Don't forget to go and check out Honeyball AFL. Join their promotion that they're running at the moment. Percentage off. Make sure you get in contact with them. They have live updates on injuries, quotes, news presses, everything, timeframes, everything you need to better your Supercoach and AFL fantasy experience. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter. You can find me at Scobie_Supercoach Hub. Joshy, where can the listeners find you, mate?
I'll do a new handle now. We've all changed our handles to add SC Hub into it. So just JG_SC Hub.
Wonderful, mate. Join the Discord. You know where to find us. Like, subscribe, get the bell going. So every time we go live or something's uploaded, you get it straight away in a notification. thank you so much for everyone joining tonight, and we'll be back here again, hopefully, with some huge Supercoach scores next week. And once again, please don't be hating on Verns. He will upgrade his setup. We'll try and get what we can for him. We love having him here, but not that other pleb bloke. So thank you, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Have a good night, guys.